Fox 5 News Block.
Cleanup efforts continue after Monday night's flash flooding left much of the tri-state drenched. And details of the new lawsuit filed by former interim NYPD Commissioner Tom Donlon against Mayor Adams and other top NYPD brass. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Steve Lacey. Welcome to the News Block. We're going to get to those stories in just a moment. But first, let's take a live look outside right now. It is hot and humid, wall-to-wall sunshine. Let's get to Liv Johnson for a look at how the rest of the day is shaping up. Liv.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, we have a true summer forecast today. First things first, an air quality alert through a lot of the tri-state, all 5 boroughs. We have a good portion of New Jersey, really the western half of Connecticut, and then also all of Long Island. Then in addition to that, we have a heat advisory. That's pretty much for the same areas, but even a little bit more, all of New Jersey, all of Connecticut this time. And that's not just through today, but also through tomorrow. Those current temperatures are pretty high already, 85 degrees in New York, almost hitting 90 for Long Island, 87 for Iceland. We have 91 for Hartford, 91 for Poughkeepsie, 90 for Newark, 83 degrees down the shore, New Jersey. So it would seem like you're getting a little bit of relief down there, but really those feel-like temperatures and those dew point temperatures are awfully high. So it feels like 94 in New York. It almost feels like triple-digit heat for Long Island, and also look at Newark, it feels like 97. Hartford feeling like 100 degrees right now. Poughkeepsie feeling like 95. That's in part because these dew point temperatures are so high. This is the highest I've seen all year for down the shore, New Jersey, 81 degrees, and we'll be dealing with a pretty humid week until the end of the week when we get a little bit of relief. Steve?
Very well. All right, thanks, Liv. Well, cleanup efforts resume throughout the tri-state following Monday night's deadly flash flooding in hard-hit Plainfield, New Jersey. 2 women died, many people there now in the difficult position of having to figure out how much of their valuables can be saved after the fast-moving super soaker hit earlier this week.
I do have to do the whole inside again, couches, lost my truck, lost this car. It's just pretty much everything I have in the garage and tools and everything like that. So it's a good amount of stuff.
Oh, we lost everything in the first floor, everything in the basement. You can see all the stuff here in the backyard. You know, my appliances. We lose, everything.
And many of the people there we spoke with say this just happened a few years ago with Hurricane Ida, and they're now strongly considering moving elsewhere. Former interim NYPD Commissioner Tom Donlon's filed a lawsuit against Mayor Adams and top NYPD officials, accusing them of running the police department as a criminal enterprise. Now, in the suit, Donlon claims that upon assuming his position, he quickly uncovered systematic corruption and criminal conduct by NYPD leaders who he says used the NYPD to consolidate political power, obstruct justice, and punish dissent. He also says he reported these findings to Mayor Adams, who took no action in response. Now, the mayor's office sent us a statement in response to the lawsuit, calling the allegations baseless and nothing more than an attempt to seek compensation at the taxpayers' expense. This lawsuit comes just over a week after 4 former NYPD chiefs filed similar lawsuits. Well, now to the latest on New York City's race for mayor. Andrew Cuomo speaking out on Fox 5 about his decision to stay in the race as an independent after losing the Democratic primary to Zoran Mamdani. Cuomo appearing on Good Day New York this morning, where he was grilled at length on multiple topics, including his decision to run for mayor as an independent after losing to Mamdani just 3 weeks ago. A recent Harris X survey of 585 registered voters before Cuomo announced his new campaign has Mamdani leading with 26%, Cuomo at 23%, and Republican Curtis Sliwa, as you see here, with 22%. Both Cuomo and Sliwa are within the polls' margin of error, meaning they are statistically tied with Mamdani. You can see on this poll, Mayor Adams came in with 13% and 15% are undecided. Now, this morning, the former governor addressed his shocking primary loss and what he's doing this time around in the race for City Hall.
He has great slogans. He was very good on social media, and it all sounds good. Free buses, free food, free education, everything free. Yeah, I want free. Who doesn't want free? Except it doesn't really work, right? You can't do it. And I did not aggressively enough make that case.
And Zoran Mamdani in D.C. today trying to drum up more support from New York Democrats, and Mayor Adams expected to get an endorsement from a coalition of law enforcement unions with the exception of the influential Police Benevolent Association, the largest police union in the country. It endorsed Adams 4 years ago, but opted not to this time around. Police searching for a suspect after a 16-year-old was fatally stabbed inside a Bronx deli Tuesday afternoon. Police say the stabbing took place after an altercation inside of Deli Grocery on Boston Road and Mickle Avenue. Aaliyah Williams was found with stab wounds to her face, chest, and body and rushed to Jacoby Medical Center in critical condition, where she was later pronounced dead. Police are now looking for a female suspect who was last seen wearing all black, white sneakers, and a red or pink headpiece. If you have any more info, you are urged to call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. Some Upper East Side residents voicing their concerns over a planned expansion of Lenox Hill Hospital. They held a protest outside City Hall this morning. At issue, the construction of a 436-foot tower people who live nearby say would last nearly 10 years and lead to pollution, noise, and traffic congestion. Northwell Health says it has adjusted the redesign to accommodate neighborhood concerns. The City Council is expected to hold a hearing on the matter today, and a vote is expected later this summer. Well, Congress on the verge of passing new spending cuts that have lawmakers divided. On Monday night, Vice President J.D. Vance cast a tie-breaking vote to move that bill along. On the chopping block, federal funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, as well as foreign aid programs totaling about $9 billion. There could be a final vote on this today in the Senate. The White House would then have to sign off on it by Friday, though, to get this to the president's desk. Also taking place in Washington today, a major vote on crypto legislation that proponents hope will boost regulatory clarity and keep the U.S. firmly at the forefront of the multi-trillion-dollar digital asset economy. Joining us now is Josh Olszewicz, head of trading at Canary Capital. Josh, thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right. So latest from Washington is that the bill just passed a key hurdle in the past hour or so. It does now appear poised to become law. Let's walk through some of the major issues at play here. A legislative framework for the regulation of stablecoins, greater market clarity overall, and a prohibition against the government issuing a central bank digital currency, aka a CBDC. Let's start with the stablecoin part. That's been a huge priority for the industry for a long time.
Definitely. So for your viewers who are unaware of what a stablecoin might be, it's a digital representation of a dollar. It has a peg to a dollar, and it can be used in the digital economy. It can be used peer-to-peer, business-to-business, business-to-consumer. You can send it 24/7, 365 globally to anyone. In the amount of time it takes me to finish this sentence, the money will be received on the other end. So unlike maybe Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, it competes with all of those fintech applications for U.S. users, right? But outside of the U.S., especially internationally, stablecoins are incredibly popular on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And it's interesting, too, because to the extent that some people view Bitcoin as a potential sort of challenger to the idea of the dollar's dominance worldwide, these stablecoins actually buy U.S. Treasury debt, so that could actually help bolster the dollar long term.
That's right. In a way, we're exporting U.S. Treasuries globally, and it's helping absorb all of the issuance at the front end that the U.S. government is currently bringing forth to the market. So it's a much needed supply soak for that debt.
Yeah. And then, the CBDC portion, that's basically a lot of people had concerns that if the government was able to get rid of cash and move us to a digital currency, they'd be able to control all the money we spend.
Right. And that's not just speculation, especially in China, where they already have a version of this where the government can apply specific restrictions. This amount of money can only be spent on this day. This amount of money has to be spent by X day. Certain people can't accept it. It allows for increased surveillance and increased restrictions on who can spend and where, when, why, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a real concern. All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. It reached a new all-time high, topping $123,000 per coin earlier this week. It's currently hovering around 119, 120. Ethereum's currently up 8% on the day. That's at 33.50. Things seem strong right now. Do you expect this rally to continue?
We do. A lot of the regulatory clarity we're seeing is benefiting not only Bitcoin, but also stuff down the stack, Ethereum, Solana. You're going to expect to see some ETFs here, most likely by the end of the year for those products, better features for those products, including staking and in-kind create redemptions. At the end of the day, all of this is going to bring cheaper fees for consumers and better products for consumers. So that's all we have ever wanted, is just rules of the road to bring these products to market.
Very well. Josh Olszewicz, we're going to have to leave it there. We appreciate it. Great talking to you. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you, Steve.
All right, well, the town of Hempstead announcing plans to increase beach safety measures following recent shark sightings. The addition of critical equipment will enhance real-time monitoring and rapid response efforts to keep swimmers, surfers, and beachgoers safe. Those new tools come thanks to a critical funding that was secured through an emergency request made by Nassau County legislator John Ferretti. There have been recent shark sightings near Malibu and Nickerson beaches on Long Island. And take a look at this volcano in southwestern Iceland erupting for the 12th time in the last 4 years today. The eruption started earlier this morning, prompting evacuations from a nearby town and the famous Blue Lagoon geothermal spa. That is some spectacular video there. The country's meteorological office says it's a relatively small eruption that lasted about 90 minutes. At this time, lava has not posed a threat to anything nearby, thankfully. All right. And we're going to go to Liv now for one last look outside. Hot and humid yet again, Liv.
Yeah, hot and humid for the rest of the day. Now, we do have a chance of a quick passing shower later this evening, but I think it's going to be really late tonight. So even by the time we get to dinner time, a lot of us are still hanging on to the upper 80s or even low 90s. Those are those showers I was talking about. I think probably late night between about 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. would be when we see a quick passing shower or maybe even thunderstorm move through the area. We could see some on and off showers through the night, but then I think tomorrow morning for your commute, we're going to be in the clear. It's going to be another hot and humid day, already in the 80s by the time we get to 8 a.m. And then we have a similar situation, hot, humid, back into the 90s. A few chances of a couple passing showers and thunderstorms for the late afternoon, but not a total washout. And we'll see kind of how these chances continue to develop as we get into tomorrow. We actually finally get some relief by Friday. At least we go back into the 80s, and it's going to be less humid for your Friday and Saturday. So that's a huge relief. At least we have some pretty nice weekend weather. Sunday, temperature-wise, still pretty nice, 86 degrees, but we could see some storms for the second half of the day that take us into Monday. But basically, we just have to get through today and tomorrow, where it's very hot and humid. We have a couple thunderstorm chances, and then Friday, Saturday, we get a little bit of relief. Steve?
Looks good, Liv. You know it's July when the cool down's 84, 85, 86. Yeah. All right, we like it, though. It's a short period of time. We do know that. All right, that's your news block for now. I'm Steve Lacey. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.